tablet of the story of the creation. Obverse. Time the heaven above had not yet announced, earth beneath recorded, a name, penned deep was their generator, Tiamat the chaos of the sea was the motherlem all. Raters were embosomed as one, and Enfield was unharvested, the pasture was ungrown. At that time the gods had not appeared, any of them. By no name were they recorded, no destiny had they fixed. Then the great gods were created. Lakmu and Lakamu issued forth the first, until they grew up when Ansar and Kisar were created. Long were the days, extended was the time, until the gods Anu, Bel and Ea were born. Ansar and Kisar gave them birth. The rest of the tablet is lost. Third tablet of the story of the creation obverse. The gods have marched round her, I all of them. Up to those whom thou hast created at her side I have gone. When they were gathered beside her, Tiamat they approached. The strong one Merodach, the glorious, who desists not night or day. The exciter to battle, was disturbed in heart. Then they marshalled their forces, they create darkness. The mother of Kabir, the creatress of them all. I pursued with my weapons unsurpassed, then did the great snake espite. With my teeth sharpened unsparingly did I bite. With poisoned breath like blood their bodies I filled. The raging vampires I clothed with terror. I lifted up the lightning flash, on high I launched it. Their messenger Sarbaba, their bodies were struck, but it pierced not their breasts. I made ready the dragon, the mighty serpent and their god Lakamar. The great reptile, the deadly beast and the scorpion. Man. The devouring two reptiles, the fish-man and the gazelle. God, 3. Lifting up my weapons that spare not, fearless of battle. Strong through the law which yields not before the foe. The 11-fold offspring, like him their messenger, were utterly overthrown. Among the gods her forces. I humbled the god King U in the sight of his consort, the queen. They who went in front before the army I smote. Lifting up my weapons, a snare for Tiamat. Fourth tablet of the story of the creation. Obverse. So he established for him that is Merodach the shrine of the mighty, before his fathers for a kingdom did he found it. Yea, thou art glorious among the great gods. Thy destiny is unrivaled, thy gift day is that of Anu. O Merodach, thou art glorious among the great gods. Thy destiny is unrivaled, thy gift day is that of Anu. Since that day unchanged is thy command. High and low enter each thy hand. May the word that goes forth from thy mouth be established, untroubled is thy gift day. None among the gods has surpassed thy power. At the time when thy hand founded the shrine of their God O. F the sky. May the place oyster gathering Q become thy hoe. O Merodach, thou art he who avenges us. We give thee the sovereignty, we the hosts of all their universe. Thou possessest it, and in the assembly of the gods mayst thou exalt thy word. Never may thy weapons be broken, may thine enemies tremble. O Lord, be gracious to the soul of him who putteth his trust in thee, and destroy the soul of the god who has hold of evil. Then they set in their midst his saying unique J. To Merodach their firstborn they spake. May thy destiny, O Lord, go before the God of heaven. May he go fifin? The destruction and creation of all that is said. Set thy mouth, let it destroy his word. Turn, speak unto it, and let him lift up his word. Again. He spake and with his mouth destroyed his word. He turned, he spake unto it, and his word was recreated. Like the word that issues from his mouth, the gods. His fathers saw it. They rejoiced, they approached Merodach the king. They bestowed upon him the scepter and throne and reign. Ha gave him a weapon unsurpassed, consuming their hostile. Go, they said, and cut off the life of Tiamat. Let the winds carry her blood to secret places. The gods his fathers also hear the report of Ea. A path of peace and obedience is the road I have caused him to take. There was to the bow, as his weapon he prepared it. He made the club swing, he fixed its seat. And he lifted up the sacred weapon which he bade his right hand hold. The bow and the quiver he hung at his side. He set the lightning before him. With a glance of swiftness he filled his body. He made also a snare to enclose the dragon of their sea. He seized the four winds that they might not issue forth, any one of them. The south wind, the north wind, the east wind and the west wind. His hand brought the snare near the bow of his father Anu. He created the evil wind, the hostile wind, the storm, the tempest, the four winds, the seven winds, the whirlwind, their unending wind. And he caused the winds which he had created to issue forth, the seven of them, confounding the dragon Tiamat, as they swept after him. Then the Lord lifted up the deluge, his mighty weapon. He rode in the chariot of destiny that retreats without a rival. He stood firm and hung the four reins at its side. He held the weapon, unsparing, that overfloods her panoply. Their teeth carry poison. They sweep away the learned. Might and battle. On the left they open their fear. With the lightning flash and, he crowned his head. He directed also his way, he made his path descend. And humbly he sat there, before him. By his command he kept back there, his finger holds there. On that day they exalted him, the gods exalted him. The gods his fathers exalted him, the gods exalted him. Then the Lord approached, he catches Tiamat by her waist. She seeks the huge bulk of King U her husband. She looks also for his counsel. Then the rebel house one Tiamat appointed him there, overthrower of the command of Bel. But the gods his helpers who marched beside him beheld how Merodach the firstborn held their yoke. He laid judgment on Tiamat, but she turned not her neck. With her hostile lips she announced opposition. Then the gods came to the help of the Lord, sweeping after thee. They gathered their forces together to where thou wast. And the Lord launched the deluge, his mighty weapon. Against Tiamat, whom he requited, he sent it with these words. War on high thou hast excited. Strengthen thy heart and muster thy troops against the goddess. Their fathers beside thee, thou hast opposed to thy husband. Lordship thou seekest against their gods my fathers thou hast directed thy hostility. Thou harnesser of thy companions, may thy weapons reach their bodies. Stand up, and I and thou will fight together. When Tiamat heard this, she uttered her former spells, she repeated her command. Tiamat also cried out vehemently with a loud voice. From its roots she strengthened her seat completely. She recites an incantation, she casts a spell. And the gods of battle demand for themselves their arms. Then Tiamat attacked Merodach the chief prophet of the gods. In combat they joined, they met in battle. And the Lord outspread his snare and enclosed her. He sent before him the evil wind to seize her from behind. And Tiamat opened her mouth to swallow it. He made the evil wind enter so that she could not close her lips. He violence of the winds tortured her stomach, and her heart was prostrated and her mouth was twisted. He swung the club, he shattered her stomach. He cut out her entrails, he overmastered her heart. He bound her and ended her life. He threw down her corpse, he stood upon it. When Tiamat who marched before them was conquered, he dispersed her forces, her host was overthrown. And the gods her allies who marched beside her. 25. Trembled and feared and turned their backs. They escaped and saved their lives. They clung to one another fleeing helplessly. He followed them and shattered their weapons. He cast his snare and they are caught in his net. Knowing the regions they are filled with grief. They bear their sin, they are kept in bondage. And the 11-fold offspring are troubled through fear. The spirits as they march perceived the glory of Merodach. His hand lays blindness on their eyes. At the same time their opposition is broken from under them. And the god King Uhu had marshaled their forces. He bound him also along with the god of the tablets of destiny in his right hand. And he took from him the tablets of destiny that were upon him. With the string of the stylus he sealed them and held there, of the tablet. From the time when he had bound and laid the yoke on his foes. He led the illustrious enemy captive like an ox. He established fully the victory of Ansar over their foe. Merodach overcame the lamentation of Ea the Lord of the world. Over the gods in bondage he strengthened his watch. And Tiamat whom he had bound he turned head back wards. Then the Lord trampled on the underpart of Tiamat. With his club unbound he smote her skull. He broke it and caused her blood to flow. The north wind bore it away to secret places. Then his father Ea beheld and rejoiced at their savor. He caused the spirits to bring a peace offering to himself. So the Lord rested, his body he feeds. He strengthens his mind. He forms a clever plan. And he stripped her of her skin like a fish, according to his plan. He described her likeness and with it overshadowed the heavens. He stretched out the skin, he kept a watch. He urged on her waters that were not issuing forth. He lit up the sky, the sanctuary of heaven rejoiced. And he presented himself before the deep, the seat of Ea. Then the Lord measured Tiamat the offspring of their deep. The chief prophet made of her image the house of the firmament. 6 Sarah which he had created to be the heavens. The chief prophet caused Anu, Bel and Ea to inhabit as their stronghold. First line of the next tablet. He prepared the man. Sons of the great gods. Culafton. 146 lines of their fourth tablet of the series beginning when on high unproclaimed. According to the papyri of the tablet whose writing had been injured. Copied for need his lord by Nahid Merodach, the son of the irrigator, for the preservation of his life. And the life of all his house. He wrote and placed it in Phase Da. It's in the original fifth tablet of the story of the creation. Obverse. He prepared the twin mansions of the great gods. He fixed the stars, even the twin stars to correspond with them. He ordained the year, appointing the signs of their zodiac to over it. For each of the 12 months he fixed 3 stars. From the day when the year issues forth to the close. He founded the mansion of the sun god, the god of the ferry boat, that they might know their bonds. That they might not err, that they might not go astray in any way. He established the mansion of Bel and Ea along with himself. Moreover, he opened the great gates on either side. He strengthened the bolts on the left hand and on their right. And in the midst of it he made a staircase. He illuminated the moon god that he might be porter of the night, and ordained for him the ending of the night that their day may be known, saying month by month, without break, keep watch in thy disk. At the beginning of the month light up the night, announcing thy horns that the heaven may know. On the seventh day, filling thy disk, thou shalt open indeed its narrow contraction. At that time the sun will be on the horizon of heaven. At thy rising, thou shalt cut off its, thereafter towards the path of the sun thou shalt approach. Then the contracted size of the sun shall indeed change, seeking its path, descend and pronounce judgment. When the assembly of their gods had heard him, when on high, the property of Ashurbanipal the king of hosts, their king of Assyria. At that time the gods in their assembly created their beasts. They made perfect the mighty monsters. They caused the living creatures of the field to come forth. The cattle of the field, the wild beasts of the field and the creeping things of the field. They fixed their habitations for the living creatures of the field. They distributed in their dwelling places the cattle and the creeping things of the city. They made strong the multitude of creeping things, all the offspring of the earth, in the assembly of my family. Ea the god of the illustrious face. The multitude of creeping things did I make strong. To the seed of Lakama did I destroy. The rest is lost. Uzizu. The following fragment K3449 belongs to the story of the creation, but its position is uncertain. Obverse. The snare which they had made the gods beheld. They beheld also the bow, how it had been stored up. The work they had wrought they lay down. And Anu lifted it up in the assembly of the gods. He kissed the bow, and he addressed the arch of the bow, saying thus. The wood I stretch once and yet again. The third time is there, of the star of the bow in heaven. I have established also the position of Io, since the fates